Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I did not quit, although I wanted to. All right. Tonight we are talking about credit cards and how I totally disagree with Dave Ramsey.
What?
I think he's 100% wrong on this.
Whoa.
100% wrong. So, as you guys know, Dave Ramsey loves to use no credit cards at all. Ever, for any reason, no matter what. And I do not agree with that 100%, and I can tell you why. So Mike and I have been married for 30 years. I have had my own credit card for 35, 36 years. And with the exception of maybe 2 months, and one of those was an emergency, or maybe 2 months, 3 months, 2 months, 3 months, and one of those was an emergency situation where we had a family member in the hospital and had to leave out of state, a 24-hour drive away, something like that. And so I have never missed paying it off every month, except for those 3 times. And then the one time, like I said, was a family emergency. And I just called him and said, you know what? I had to leave town right away. The bill came. This was before online paying, and I couldn't pay it. So can you please take off the charges and everything? And they're like, yeah, sure, we can do that. And then the other 2 times, we actually used it in our business last year when we had a major family emergency, and then we had to order books at the same time. And so we had to pay for the medical emergency, which cleared us out. So we used the credit card to hold us over, and we paid what, $100, $200 in interest charges?
Yeah, we really have made it a never pay interest policy.
But I mean, how much did we pay on that time?
Like $100, $140, I think.
Yeah. So
for a very large amount of money.
Yeah, it was a huge amount of money. And so yeah, if you guys have comments or questions, please put them in the description. So in all of those years, I have maybe paid about $400, maybe $500 in credit card charges and interest. Now, we did use credit cards when we were first married. Mike had $3,000 in credit card debt when we were first married.
Because I was a college student. I was a dumb college student. Should I say that?
Stupid.
Which is... I think a lot of college students are in that position if they're honest, or maybe when they're older, they'll realize that they were.
So what we did was, as soon as we were married, we got offers for 0% credit card offers in the mail. And I told him, I said, why don't we take this other credit card and transfer your debt to it? And then we'll have 0% interest, and we won't be paying 0% interest. And he did not want to do that. I had to fight tooth and nail. He did not want to do that.
Because I had tried that, and I probably was a good Dave Ramsey customer in those days because he wasn't doing his thing yet. But I had tried that, but when I got that card to transfer the balance to, I just charged them both up.
Yeah.
Because I had no control of my spending. And that's why Dave is the way he is.
But now that he's married, there's no way his wife was going to let him charge that up again. So his wife wouldn't be his wife very much longer. But I finally got him convinced. We got it transferred. It was 5 years that we had to transfer credit cards. And we got the initial $3,000 paid off. And we did that, got it great, got it all done. And then Mike crashed our car down the side of a cliff in a snowstorm.
See, it's Mike.
Just kidding. There's a common denominator here.
What?
And we didn't have any money saved up because we were trying to pay off our credit cards. And so we had to put $2,500 to get a new car on the credit card, but we went back to 0% again, took out a 0% cash advance, paid for a $2,500 car. That kept us going. We did fine. We got that paid off. As soon as we got that paid off, then our daughter was born, And we had a $12,000 flight for life bill that insurance wouldn't cover. And so we stupidly didn't know back then, put it on the credit card instead of just making payments to the hospital. We didn't know any better, and we didn't have anybody to advise us back then. And so we put it all on the credit card. And once again,
we thought we were being responsible.
Yeah, we thought we were. Put all of that on 0% again and got it paid off. So in 5 years, we paid off $20,000 of credit card debt on an averaged income of $22,000 a year. So we did pretty darn tootin' good. I mean, I have to say, I don't know how many people could even live, even in the 90s when all this happened. People could even live on $20,000 a year, let alone be paying off their credit card also. So,
well, and as we went on that, there was certain logic that we had, which was I had the debt when we got married. Tara had the idea of let's switch it to a lower interest credit card. And I was against it because I realized I had no control. But Tara was super tightly controlled on the spending. So we agreed she would do the spending and I would do the accounting for the spending because she had a problem with the accounting part. And so between us, we figured that out. So it ended up that we had a lower rate and we continued to pay on that lower rate. And then it wasn't very long before they gave us a lot of 0% offers. And when Tara was talking about we charged it up because we crashed a car or whatever, we didn't save an emergency fund because we thought,
we didn't crash the car. He crashed the car.
We thought we're paying off debt. I'm just ignoring you. We thought we're paying off debt. So do we want to keep money aside while we're paying interest on other money? We thought, well, the worst that we do is we have to put it back on the card again. Mm-hmm. Well, that wasn't really good logic. And we didn't know it at the time. But we ended up, as Tara said, those few things. And after the car, we said, okay, we're only ever going to do the credit card thing again if it's a dire life and death emergency. But then after the thing with our daughter, we realized we could have just tried our best to pay the hospital something, and they probably would have written it off because they did for somebody else we knew in exactly the same situation. But we thought we were being responsible by switching it from a higher interest rate to a lower interest rate. So after that, we said, no emergency is big enough, although I say that, but then we did it with that really huge one. But we said pretty much no emergency is big enough for going into debt for. And to our defense, the time when we did it, when we had that huge emergency, that one, we actually had the money coming. It just wasn't here yet. Yeah. So we'd already made the money and it was on its way to us.
Yeah. So we already had the accounts payable coming to us. Now, here's the thing. I am okay with using credit cards. I have absolutely no problem with people using credit cards. And I think that if you cannot use your credit card and pay it off every month, it's a self-control issue. You just don't have any self-control. Me, I do not buy extra things because I use my credit card. I do not go on vacation and buy extra stuff because I'm using my credit card. I already have planned in my mind how much I'm going to spend and how much I want to spend, how much money we have before I go and buy those things. So if you're using credit cards and you're just doing them up, it's just a self-control issue. But like with alcohol or drugs or anything like that, if you just have no self-control with that, then don't use them. That's fine. If you just can't control yourself and you just can't manage your money and you get a credit card in your hand and you just spend, then fine. Don't keep them on hand and only pay cash for everything. But here's the problem with that. When I know people who have followed Dave for 20 years and they rented for 20 years. They paid cash for absolutely everything for 20 years, saved up the money for a down payment for a house. And then they went to go buy a house. They couldn't get a loan because they had a 0 credit score. They could not get a loan. I don't care what Dave says about you being able to get a manual underwriting and all that baloney. It is a bunch of baloney. They don't just manually underwrite you because you've been paying cash for 20 years or 10 years or however long. They don't. The credit score actually does matter. And like my friend, they were always on time on their bills. They never had a problem with anything. They never missed a payment on anything. And they almost were not able to buy their house. And it was significantly delayed in the closing. They almost didn't buy their house because they had 0 credit score. So a credit score does matter. It really does. So unless you're paying cash for a house, you should always pay cash for a car. You should never, ever get a car loan. But a house, I could see getting a mortgage for. I'm okay with that. But, you know, it really makes a big difference. And it's not as easy as what Dave says. I know firsthand from one of my really good friends. And it was a nightmare for them. It was absolutely a nightmare.
Well, and if you control yourself, it really has a lot of benefits. And I did watch some of Dave's more recent videos about it. And he was thinking, I guess a lot of people are looking at videos on YouTube about how to play the system and get points and do all sorts of things. And we're not really in it for that.
No, but we do use the points.
We use the points
all the time.
But we wouldn't open a credit card to get points. Right?
Right.
But what happened is after we paid off everything, we found out that it still worked pretty well. Because Tara would ask me, do we have enough money in the account for this? Do we have enough money in the account for that? And I know that she's not going to spend. She's not just going out there and holding her hand over her eyes and swiping a credit card. She's super tight on how much she's spending and on what they are, what she's spending. And she feels bad about spending anything, which I think is a little bit more than she needs to. But nevertheless, we worked it out where she just uses the card and then she doesn't have to ask me, is the money in the account right now? Of course, now we generally don't have that problem anyway, but it's become convenient that way for us, and we don't pay any interest on it. One thing that we did discover is if you're disciplined, you have to be disciplined. If you're disciplined and you charge various things on there and then you pay them off immediately, the credit score, the system that judges your credit score looks at that and says, whoa, they put $2,000 on there and this month, and then they paid it off right away. Oh, they did it again. And so the system gives you a really high score. And Dave will say, like Tar said, you don't really need a credit score, but there are a few things where if you don't have one,
like renting an apartment,
it's a major hassle.
Sometimes car rental places, financial institutions like banks and those kinds of places. If you don't have a credit score, they won't rent or let you open an account.
But we do have certain rules for ourselves, like we don't pay fees. We don't pay interest. We pay it off. We pay off everything. I pay it off more than twice a month usually, but we definitely pay it off by the time it's going to bill so that it doesn't get any interest. And we do use the points, but we wouldn't get a card just to have points.
Now, just so you don't think that I'm just like all pro credit cards. Do I think they're predatory? Yes, they're predatory. They should not be on college campuses at all. Maybe they're not allowed to now, but they used to be.
No, they are allowed to.
They should not be allowed to just be there on college campuses, just going after kids, acting like it's free money. That's just absolutely wrong. Mike was doing some research on the predatory things they do to get people to spend more and make it difficult to pay their stuff off and credit collectors and stuff. And that's totally wrong. And yet, do I think they're the bad guy? Yeah, I do think they're the bad guy. Absolutely 100%. But because I have self-control, I'm using it to my advantage. And yeah, I use the points. You know, I probably get $100 in points a month, probably, that I use. Is that a lot? No, it's not even hardly worth the headache. But they do pay me more than I have ever paid them in my entire life. They've probably paid me 1,000 times more than I've ever spent on with them. But I don't look at my card and think, oh, I'm going to book this trip to Cancun so I can get all of these free rewards points. No, I don't do that.
But if we know we need to spend a big amount of money on something and the place that where spending it takes credit cards, we will definitely use that card. Because why not? There was something you said a second ago about
the predatory stuff.
Oh, another thing about the credit score thing is people say I'm keeping a mortgage so I have a credit score, or I'm keeping a car payment so I have a credit score. Well, man, you're paying like massive amounts of interest. So you're basically paying for a credit score. And in our situation, we don't need it very often. But there have been a few times where I was thinking, I'm really glad we had this at this moment for this reason. And if you don't pay any interest on it, then you're not paying any amount of money for a credit score. Actually, it's interesting because Tanya said, don't forget about the fraud protection.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still this way because we haven't had to pay attention that much in a long time on this. But it used to be that if a fraudster got your number of your debit card, that you were just out the money until the bank figured out if you were scamming them or if a scammer scammed them. And you'd have to wait a long time to get your money. But with a credit card, the credit card company would just lock down those charges and you would still be able to use the card and you wouldn't have to be out the money. And that's one of the reasons why we kept it after a while, is because for internet purchases and things, it seemed to us at the time that it would be more likely that there would be scammers. And we have found in general that there have been more scams, although I don't think our credit cards have been mostly compromised from places we spent the money. I think they were compromised from hacks to companies. So anyway, but it has been a good fraud protection. And also, when we went to Europe, they wanted a $5,000. Well, we would have had to pay probably our daughter and I went to Europe, we spent $250 on the car and I put a deposit on the credit card, which is where they just say, we've locked down this amount of your credit card and you can't use that part of it till you return the car. But if we hadn't done that, they would have wanted us to pay $2,500 extra in car insurance for the $250 car. So there are things like that where it's definitely been valuable to us.
All right, guys, these videos are brought to you by our Dining on a Dime cookbooks, Volume 1 and Volume 2. They're 25% off right now. Start with Volume 1, but Volume 2 is just the continuation. Easy recipes to get you in and out of the kitchen quick with ingredients that are inexpensive and your family will love them. Also, our Dining on a Dime gluten-free, dairy-free edition. If you're gluten-free, dairy-free like me, you can grab that in the description below. Mike is going to be sending me the comments and questions right now. And if you have more, please go ahead and post them. Thank you, Laura. I got the cherry chips. So if you see this, I can't remember what you wanted me to make with them, but let me know. I just didn't think that you would actually get them. And then I also wanted to thank, who was this that sent it? Oh dear. Is the card still in here? Oh yeah, here. So yes, Heather, that's who it was. Heather sent me the cutest little fall gnomes. Thank you, Heather. Oh my goodness. Aren't these guys just too darn cute? Tootin' cute. Thank you, Heather.
They're super
greatly
cute.
Appreciate that. I was just thinking today, oh my goodness, I barely have my summer. I don't even have my summer stuff out yet. And I'm going to have to be starting to make fall recipes in like 7 or 8 weeks. Like, what? I haven't even got to summer yet. So yeah, somebody asked about how I got my hair so curly. I call it Tara's toupee. It's just a hair piece.
They were speculating if that was the case.
Yeah, it's a hair piece.
It's all for her except the back part.
Well, yeah, that's the main part.
Yeah.
So anyway,
first batch coming.
Okay, let's see. Here we go. All right. Hello, Inglesia. She didn't ever catch us live, but I'm glad you got to watch us live tonight. Jenna, I'm back. Yes, just barely. Took me a week to recover. I did not do any videos at all for a week. I have just been in the garden, as my hands will attest here. I haven't been able to film any cooking videos because my hands are so messed up from the garden. I'm like, people are going to want to eat or look at food. So I have been in the garden for 2 weeks straight now, not doing any videos for a week. And I'm not recovered. Sorry. I went to go work on a video for my other channel, Super Easy Recipes, and I was just like, oh my goodness. I got it done. It's a cool cake, 2-ingredient cake, which is coming out tomorrow, and a couple of other 2-ingredient recipes. And so I got that done, but I don't know. I just have been like, I don't want to do any videos. I've just been working in the garden while it's cool. And the rabbits proceeded to eat some of my garden that I just planted.
No, we have so many bunnies. We should have bunny soup.
I need fencing. Okay. Shelly, I'd like your thoughts on when to pass up a sale. I shop the ads and I'm pretty well stocked, but I have trouble resisting a good sale and stocking up. Well, I get it. Like if it's something that I use all the time, I'll just go ahead and stock up some more, depending on what it is. But I mean, there's a certain amount, like I always try to keep 2 cases, which is 24, I think it's 24 cans of green chilies on hand, because we always make green chili. I haven't made that for a while. I should make that.
So wait, say it again.
So green chili. I always keep rice on hand because we eat rice every single day. I always keep, box cake mixes and brownie mixes and all those types of things, spaghetti, noodles. So, I mean, just give yourself a limit and just say, I'm not going to buy it once it gets to this limit. But if it's something that you use all the time and it's a really super good deal, then go ahead and stock up if you want. Now, for me, I'm cutting back on my freezer stocking up because the video didn't get out in time. So you guys will see it Friday or Saturday, but I had another appliance die. I'm not kidding. 5 appliances in 5 months, 3 of them at the dump. Yeah. Or gone. Yeah. So anyway, I'm so mad. Okay. Hello, Jesus and Coffee. I am so glad you were able to join us. Michelle, I'll be here tonight. You do have to be really careful with credit cards. I know I keep saying this, but next month I will be back to good with my credit card. Good job. Good job. And she's pausing her Prime for a month. Good job. If you don't need it, I would definitely do that. Shelly, last week I mathed my grocery receipt after buying soda for a special dinner and restocking coffee. 44% of the total was for beverages. I told you so. I know. 30 to 50% of people's grocery bills are just drinks of the average person. Not me, but the average person. Is just drinks. I guarantee you can go to any Walmart and probably 80 to 90% of the people, 30 to 50% of that grocery cart is just drinks. It's just unbelievable. Bounty in the Badlands. Her cowboy won't eat tacos, but she loves them.
What?
We are having chicken fried steak with baked potatoes. Yum. Wow.
Wow. I don't know anybody who doesn't eat tacos.
Meg, sure. Well, I don't want to admit this, but I don't want to cook, so we're having Subway tonight. There you go. Kimberly. Hello, everyone. Sloppy Joes tonight. That's what we had last night. Yeah, volume 1 right here. I cooked them last night for us. I had cooked up when my freezer died, and I could not get everything in it. I cooked up 20 pounds. No, that's not right. 10 pounds. 10 pounds of hamburger, and got it all cooked up and ready to go. Titus 2, Jesus Girl says appropriate use of credit cards builds credit. Yes, it does. Lean says, yay, you're here. You're still worried. Yes. Well, Well, first of all, I'm not going to apologize for losing it last week, but I just 2 hours before that show, if you guys have little kids, cover their ears, please. Giving you a chance here. 2 hours before that show, or if you're sensitive to gore, close your ears. 2 hours before that show, my son had witnessed a lady getting hit on the street and dragged down the street. He said there was so much blood. He said, I didn't know how anyone would be able to live through it. Well, she didn't. And honestly, I'm sick up to here with all of the talk about food and everything as it is. But then I'm just like, my goodness, how petty can people be? Just that it just is always going on and on and on and on. And so I just had it. I just had a moment and I just had it. So anyway, Cindy, we use credit cards for gas and vacations and our rare times of eating out. Yeah, I use my 95% of my purchases. The only things that I don't put on credit card are my garage sale and my thrift store stuff. Everything else I put on credit cards. Number one, because then if I lose my receipt, Walmart can go look up what I bought and I can get my money back. Second, a huge majority of the stuff that we buy, we can take off on our taxes because of the type of business we have. So I need to do that anyway.
Actually, having the business stuff on a card is definitely really helpful. We can do cash with it, but then I have to do a lot more bookkeeping on that. And we do a little bit of that, but we try to just do the card for, and actually, just so it's clear, we're not saying you need a whole bunch of credit cards. In the days when we were switching them from one to another, we had more of them because one of them would say, no, we're not going to work with you on that. And then we'd say, okay, we're switching it to a different one then. But now we pretty much just have the one for business and the one for personal stuff, except we did get a Home Depot card at one point because we were having our microwave troubles last year. We had gone through like 3 microwaves and
we'll use it for that. They have a year return policy.
They told us it makes it a year return policy. So we bought one on the card from there, and it hasn't had a problem since. We're like, hey, it's kind of like buying flight insurance. You know, your flight doesn't crash because you bought it. I'm not saying you should buy flight insurance, but I've heard people say that in the past.
Yeah. Cindy in Southeast Texas. Hello. Michelle, you have to have a credit card to buy a car. My sister had problems with that. She had to get a credit card. Yep. Rosebud, there are times when you need a credit card. One of my sons was snowboard accident in Canada and got a concussion. The Canadian hospital would not accept our American insurance. Oh, man. Oh, I can't imagine. Banning Badlands, way back in the day, I only put major purchases on a card. You send me the next one. Nothing else put on until it was paid off. Now we put everything on it, but we pay it off in full each month. Very good. Danny, years ago with young children, low-income credit card debt, we swapped back and forth with 0% interest. Yep, that's exactly what we did. She said, we're very frugal, dedicated, and we are totally debt-free. Yep.
And it's funny because on that getting cards and swapping them back and forth, you know, I don't tell people go out and get credit cards and do all this stuff with interest. But at the time, we were thinking, you know, we were paying a lot more interest. And by swapping them, we were paying a lot less interest. So that was definitely worth it for us at the time.
Yep. Bounty Badlands, putting it on a credit card makes doing the books much easier. Yeah, it does. Vicky, the problem with credit cards is that many people treat it like money they don't have to pay back, so they can rack it up. As long as you pay it right back, it is the only way to do it. Yep. Nancy, I have seen damage with debit cards having overdraft protection, monthly fees for each time it covered. It adds up. Yeah, exactly. Kimberly, credit cards are good for returning items. They're much easier to get your money back. 100%. That's why I put almost everything on the credit card. Yep. You must be able to pay it off within a month or two. Never get to the point where you're having to live off your credit cards to pay it. Then you need to live for the next month. It's just not worth it. Yep. Yeah.
If you have to live off your credit cards, you just need to figure out a way to not spend any money.
Yeah.
Because if you're living off your credit cards, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to pay interest, and it's crazy. The interest, some of them are charging like 27% interest. When I was a kid, it was illegal to be over 17% in Texas, and even that's crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Kimberly, I think people Do not understand that your risk of credit. Understand that your credit score is everything in the financial world. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's saying what? Yeah, sometimes you can't even open up a checking account if you have a bad credit score. Yep. Because they deem you a risk of overdrafting. Yep. She's a former JP Morgan risk manager and also worked in their HR department. I've worked in the financial world for many years, but it's taken me many years also to understand my own credit. I know. Yeah. Michelle, I started with Capital One card. It got me started. Now I have one through my bank. One through her bank. Yeah. Roxanne, how'd you get your curls like that? So it was Roxanne. Thank you. Yeah, it's my Tara's toupee. It's fake. I do it on days like today where I've been out in the garden and I'm tired and I don't feel like doing my hair. So I do it. Yeah, I've been really hitting the garden hard trying to get everything planted, but oh my goodness. Okay, has anybody grown petunias for more than like 3 or 4 years? Anybody grown petunias for a while? I got a petunia question if I can find the picture on my phone. Let me know if you guys grow petunias because I have a question and it's driving me crazy. Here it is. Okay. So does anybody, okay, there is a few people who have, okay, so here's my petunia question. I never liked petunias until we moved to this house.
Really?
And I got, well, I didn't hate them. But I would grow other things before petunias. Okay. So I wasn't a big petunia grower until here. My daughter 1 year got me a whole bunch in Colorado that she found on clearance, and she got me a bunch, and I really liked those ones, but I just never really bought them. So I don't know much about petunias. Well, here, every year that we've lived here, my petunias, some of them do great, and then others, I'll plant them, and they will literally just turn brown and die. They don't shrivel up. They don't do anything. I plant them on a day where it's going to rain or the night before so they don't have huge transplant shock, so that they're not in the sun really bad. I do very lightly fertilize with a starting fertilizer, brand new potting soil. What else? It's above 50 degrees most nights, 45 to 50 degrees most nights. And I keep them watered. Now, it's hard to tell in this picture because I didn't take it very well. But this is what they're doing. So look at the petunia in the front and the petunia in the back were planted at the same time. So let me see if you can see this. Sort of. Oh, that lady's here for the table. So see that? Oh, that you can't really tell. Can you hold on? You guys have got to see this. Let me see if I can. Here it is. Okay, how do I share this? Because this is driving me crazy. It's absolutely driving me crazy. It is right here. Okay, now can you see that? So my petunia here, see it in the front? That's what they're doing. And the one in the back, it's just fine. I planted them both at the same time, the same exact way.
Is it the same soil?
Same soil.
So you didn't use soil that was already in the buckets from the previous year?
I've used new soil. So
are they in the same location?
Because I thought they were like vermilion wilt. Is that how you say it? I thought they were the fungus vermilion wilt, I think. And I'll plant, I have like all these planters along the front of my house, and I'll plant them, and like half of them will do that, and then the other half will be fine. And they're from the same grower. They're from the same packs on the same flat, same soil, same watering. I can't figure it out. It's driving me bananas.
Connie asked, do you break up your roots when you transplant?
I do. Yeah.
Steve and Nina said, looks dried out.
Yeah, doesn't it? It looks like they're dried out, but they're soaking wet. But I don't let them sit in water either. Yeah, and it's about this year, it's about not half, but maybe a quarter of the petunias I planted are doing that. So then the only thing I could figure is maybe it wasn't warm enough and they're getting a fungus, but why would half of them do it and the other half don't? I don't know. Yeah, they're planted in the full sun, and I plant them on a day where they're not going to have a lot of transplant shocks. So like when it's raining or it's overcast or cloudy, and they are set outside on my porch getting hardened off. It's the weirdest thing. I have cut them back. Yeah, I've tried cutting them back. I left that one long so you guys could see what happened because yeah, so no, my soil doesn't have I mean, I add a little bit of fertilizer, but not a lot. But I don't know. Yeah, the roots look fine. I don't know. Okay. Well, anyway, you guys are all about the same way I am too.
In the first batch of questions, did you get the one about from Eileen about she doesn't have a credit card, she's 42, and she was wondering about?
I don't know. I haven't got through them yet.
That was in the first. Oh, that was number one. Sorry, I thought you were on number 2 now.
Let's see. Sorry, I got off on that little tangent, but it's been driving me crazy. Naomi, how have you been feeling? I have not been feeling very well, actually. The doctor has me on some supplements. I think those supplements are actually making me really sick. So I stopped them last night, and I've been feeling somewhat better today. Michelle, they also charge an accidental fee in case something is damaged or stolen for rental cars and stuff like that. Grandma's so happy. That's what my family does. Pay enough each month to enjoy the points. Yep, exactly. My brother in college got a credit card. My parents had no debt, were denied the same credit card company. They were paying for my brother's college. Oh, brother.
Well, in college, they're trying to get you locked in to be a lifetime overspender. Mm-hmm. And because I remember when I was in college and I was like I said, a stupid college student, they had tables right there in the student mall where you hang out. And they were like, hey, come on over. Hey, you should do something nice for yourself. Is it really fair that you have to wait all these years to have the nice things and you want to do this stuff for yourself? And of course, college students are like, oh, yeah, I should be able to have stuff. Well, they suck you in greatly, and they know exactly that's what college students want to hear. Or they talk about, you can put your books on here and you don't have to finish paying them off till you're done with school. Or they just tell you all kinds of crazy stuff to get you. And the reason why they will offer a card to a college student when they won't offer them to somebody else, because they know you're probably going to have some kind of job and they'll be able to keep you on the hook for paying interest for years and years and years. So, but they usually don't give you a huge credit limit. So there's that. Mm-hmm. That was the one thing that I was actually thankful for in their scammy strategy, is that because of the credit limit, I didn't get into a lot worse trouble.
Yeah. Bounty, what does lime do for petunias? Let me know. I didn't get that question. It wasn't in number 1. Maybe it's in number 2. Adventures of Julio and Chuchi. I don't know. Using the snowball method, paying off last credit card, then going to hammer out the car loan, sleeping well, knowing I don't have 5 cards to pay anymore. Yep. That's a totally valid way to do it if you want to do it that way. Yep. It helps to get all those extra things off your mind.
Yeah. It was in 1. So I'll just, Eileen just said, if I've never had a credit card, I'm 42 and I know I have no credit score, what credit card should I get? To be honest,
doesn't matter.
I would get a Visa or MasterCard.
Just get it through your bank.
But I would get it through your bank or something like that. But I would do the credit card and not just a debit card. I would not use American Express or Discover or any place that has a fee. Those have fees and all kinds of stuff. And they're charging you for all the stuff they do. And I would also just see what you get the best deal on, because what they do is they brand a Visa or MasterCard. And if you get it from, Capital One or Citibank or whatever, or your own bank, they all brand them that way. So as long as it's Visa or MasterCard, they'll take it. And that's been positive. One thing I would say for people that were talking about, when we talked about car rental stuff, when Ellie and I went over to Europe, I found out there was car rental insurance, and I called the company and they said, yep, it's covered up to like 100,000 or some dollars on the car. I forgot what it was. And in Ireland, they were very concerned about Americans not having enough insurance because a lot of Americans like break the mirrors off and stuff. And so the card company said, here, give them this letter from us to tell them that it's definitely covered. So that's one thing I would say. In a situation like that, you can call your company ahead of time and find out if that would be covered.
Okay, let's see. Just a second here. Yeah, I have on my petunias. I have thought about sterilizing the pots and sterilizing the soil, but sterilizing the soil is a huge pain in the patootie. So, but I might try it anyway. Angie, last year or so, businesses are charging a surcharge if you use a credit card. Yeah, that's been going on for quite a while. Yep.
Well, and part of the reason why is businesses themselves get charged. Like our business, I think we get charged like 2.9% plus a flat amount on top of that for every order. And so they're trying to recoup the cost of those orders.
Angie uses her credit cards exclusively, but pays them off every month. Very good. For plants and points, are they physical books? Do you mean our cookbooks? Yes, our cookbooks are physical books. This is they're physical books. But this is volume 1 and volume 2 of our regular cookbooks, and then our gluten-free, dairy-free edition right there. Easy recipes get you in and out of the kitchen quick that your family will love. Did you put the link in there? You can grab it on our website at livingonadime.com in the description below. Dee Dee, yes, everything you say is correct. Self-control is a big part of using credit cards. Yep, you are right,
if
Nancy.
You don't have self-control, do not.
Yeah, if you don't have self-control, then don't. But.
And if you're a person who's like, yeah, I'm trying to get myself out under control and I'm spending on one end and charging on the other end, you still don't have enough control. You need to only be paying it off and not charging anything on it.
Yep. Nancy, my bank was great about resolving 2 issues with my debit card. Very good. Some banks are better than others, yeah. Roxanne, my Bank of America got scammed 4 times in a month. I fell for USPS text scam only because I had an order stuck in limbo set to my old home. The 4th time the Bank of America looked at my account found a phone number linked. Huh.
Yeah, one thing, if you get a text message saying it's from your bank or an email, never, ever, ever do what the text message or the email says or reply to it.
Just call the company yourself.
Pull out the card that you actually have in your possession and look on the back and call it and say, I got a text saying it was from you and there's a problem here. Because when you actually call the number on the card, you're calling the real place. But the text message or the email, they're sending you to the scammer's place to give them your login information.
Yep. Bernadine, my Tara's toupee looks so real. Thank you. Yes, I know. I can't believe how well it matches. Rachel, we have baby bunnies in our yard too. The chickens object. Yeah. Oh my goodness. We probably have at least 4, but I think we might have 4 more baby bunnies. But little turds just ate my lilies I just planted. Michelle, does closing a credit card ruin your credit score? It can if you're not using it. Yeah, I mean, it can, but.
Kayla asked, I don't know if you answered my question. I was eating dinner, but is it necessary for me to get a credit card? If you're living fine without it, then don't.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's just if you're going to go buy a house, then you might need the credit score for that. But yeah.
Or if there's some other thing that you've had trouble with that you know that that's an issue, then I would think about that.
It really says paying off your credit card every month can actually hurt your credit score more than help. By the end of the day, what's important is just keep good credit history.
That's not
they
true.
say that all the time, but we pay ours off every month and our credit score is like 800 and something.
It's 860 something. So it's like it's almost as high as it possibly can be from paying it off. We pay it off every single month.
And we don't have car loans, no other loans. So I don't know, but I hear that all the time.
So paying it off all the way is definitely not going to hurt your score. And I would never, ever carry an interest. It's probably a rumor started by the company to get you to keep paying interest.
Probably. All right, let's see. Okay. Is that the new fridge that died? No, now it's my freezer. But I have a video coming out on that probably Friday. So, oh, brother, yeah. Yeah, another appliance, Dee Dee. I know. I just am so mad. Nancy, if you see Tara and Mike putting in a root cellar, you'll know they've had it. Yeah, I'm just about ready to get me an ice box. Michelle, I made more iced tea tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the recipe. You're welcome. Yeah, iced tea is in our volume 1, I believe. Super easy. Also, super easy recipes also has that video. Telling you my luck with furniture is like your appliances. Buy it, it breaks, especially chairs. The one I'm sitting on is 6 months old and the footrest won't close. Oh, man.
Oh, my.
Andrea, I just saved $271 using Snapshot with my Progressive Auto Insurance. Woohoo. Very good.
So one thing with auto insurance, I myself don't use that kind of thing because I don't like them just tracking everywhere I'm going all the time. I don't know. I'm not doing anything wrong, but I just think I don't want you to be following me on that. But if it's working for you, great. What I would say though, for people with car insurance is if you're not already doing this, you should contact them and find out what all the possible discounts are. Because like for us, there's like a 50% discount if we pay it all at once. Oh no, it's not that much. It's a big discount if we pay it all at once. It's another giant discount if we have it automatically withdrawn from our bank, which I don't like to do, but because it ends up being a massive amount of money, I do it and I just watch it really closely. So on car insurance, call your insurance company if you haven't done it in a while and say, hey, are there any other discounts that I could get on this? I mean, obviously you want to keep your good coverages, but in terms of things like paying it off all at once, if you can do that, you save a ton of money.
Jesus and Coffee says, I've been making tea and using drink mixes when the kids want to change from water. Very good. Convenience store prices are absolutely ridiculous. It shouldn't even be an option if you're trying to save money. Yep. Dee Dee, love Mexican food. Had a great food in Texas last week. Yeah.
Oh, yum.
Elizabeth, I cut way back on drinks. You can send me the next one. They're expensive and they rot your teeth, even the sugar-free ones. Patricia, making volume 1 hamburger casserole this evening. I love your cookbooks. Glad they're back. Thank you. That is on our website, livingonadime.com. If you just put it in the search bar, you'll find it. That is one of our favorite recipes.
Which one?
Becky, hamburger casserole.
Oh,
Becky,
yes.
please, Tara, please help. I'm having trouble with your original brownie recipe. What's the problem with the recipe, Becky? You didn't say what the problem was, so let me know what the problem is. Josephine, I have 2 credit cards, both 500 credit limit. I pay 150 to 300 each month, but I'm max charge both again each month. What would you do?
I think she's saying she's paying off $150, $300, but she charges them up to the $500 limit. If you're doing that, I would stop using them completely. Yeah. Because if you're charging them up to the max, then it seems like your spending would be out of control.
And then you're spending more than you're paying off, so you're paying interest on them.
Yeah. And when they give you a limit that's really low like that, it means that they're not sure if you're a good risk, if you're going to pay your bills. But if of course, you have to get good control of it. If you always spend a lot less than you pay on it, like if you pay it off completely, then ultimately they'll give you a bigger limit. So if you're using it for normal things, but at the same time, you never want to get to where you're spending more than you're able to pay on it, because then you're going to be paying interest and interest. So if you go, like, say you go to the store and you buy eggs and they're like $7 and you're going to put it on a credit card and pay interest. So instead of $7, you're like, I don't want to pay $7 for those eggs. I want to pay $10 because you're going to pay interest on it. And that interest could be on there a long time if you're the kind of person that ends up keeping that balance for a while. So yeah, I would just, if we understand the question right, I would probably stop using the cards if you're maxing them, but you're not paying them completely off.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Debbie, are there any debt consolidation companies a good idea? Nope, just run from them. Do not even go there. Just pay it off yourself.
Well, and the reason why is you can, like Tara said, you can pay it off yourself and you spend a lot less on it. And you definitely don't want to roll it into your house or anything like that. And we pretty much did the same thing that Dave Ramsey recommends. When we paid off ours, he wasn't recommending it at the time, I don't think, or at least we didn't know about it. But we just paid off the smallest balance ones first, just to make them go away, so that there was more cash to use to spend on the next one. And then we wouldn't say, oh, look, we paid off this card. Now we have more fund money. No, we'd say, look, we paid off this card, and everything that we had been paying to that card is now going to the next one, in addition to, well, in order to get that paid off. So do it yourself. You'll save a ton of money.
Cindy, my bank contacted me about an attempted purchase on my debit card. I had to get a new one. Yep, happens to us too. Mary Ellen, we turned our points into cash and deposit into our NFCU accounts. We also pay it off every month. Very good. That's credit union. Simon, Human, hello, Kellen family. Hello. Bernadette, what are your thoughts on making one's own butter with cream? Thank you. I mean, if you get your cream for cheap or free, then go for it. I mean, that's totally fine. I have no problem with doing that. But cream is extremely expensive, so it's not cheaper to make it at home than to just buy butter. But if you want to do it, that's fine. You can do it. In the kitchen with Grandma Cece, we have learned so much from you and Mike. Common sense. Come on, get it together, people. Love it, you guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Nikki, we have one that's 18%, and that's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, I know there are people that have 29% on their credit cards. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I would never let it get to paying the interest.
And yet they're still going out to eat, still buying school fundraisers, still going on vacations. They're still paying to have their nails done, still paying to have their hair done. I mean, there's got to be a point where you have to want to get out of debt enough to sacrifice everything. Debbie, love your common sense approach. It's lacking big time anymore. Thank you. Michelle, big love. The one wife charged like so much money in the credit card debt, and she was worried about losing her husband. It was a TV show, but it made me feel sick. Yeah, it's crazy. Nicole, your car insurance even has your credit score listed. Yep. Vicky, I love petunias, having trouble finding them because of our hot season. Yeah. I'm pretty sure, I think somebody said I was in the wrong zone or something, but I grow beautiful petunias once they get going. I'm wondering if maybe I'm just planting them too early. But it's not frozen.
Fourth and Gold said at some point the petunia roots have dried out. Is that possible? Only in that one pot? Maybe it's the pot.
I don't think that's possible, because when I water each pot until it runs through to the bottom. Like I said, I've been doing this 40 years. I know what I'm doing for watering, but it looks that way. It does look that way, but I don't know. Roxanne, I love the smell. My seeds won't start that I saved. Yeah, some seeds will be hard to start. Vicky, that happens with my petunias. Some die right away. Another flourish and become big, beautiful. Yeah, see? Thank you. It's so weird. Janet, she put her in today, or some with asthma acting up, trying to stay cool. Yep. Rachel, I had a couple of planting die like that. I assume it's a root problem. I don't know. Roxanne, does your potting soil have monthly feed in it? It does not. Teresa, petunias left full sun and can be planted early even if there's still a chance of frost. I know. Thank you. That's what I thought. So I don't know. And Carol, no, I have not sterilized my pots, so I might try that. I thought about just spraying a fungicide on everything as soon as I plant it, just to see if that would take care of it. I don't know. Arthur, I haven't even had a credit score for many decades. Haven't had a problem at all. Yep. You can send me the next one. Grandma's so happy. Bring them back to the grower where you got them. Maybe first of all, I got them at a grower that's a half an hour away. So it would cost me more to drive it back and get them, but it's just the irritation of it. And Betty Bedland said, add some soil, said some lime to your soil. So I don't know if you said later, but yeah, let me know what that does. Then let's see. Bounty also said, maybe planted too close to tomatoes, peppers, potatoes. No, mine aren't. LeClaire, my cookbooks have beautiful photographs. Thank you. Yes, we made sure that we had a lot of photos in our cookbook. Right there's the red velvet cake. Here is the ham casserole. What else do we have? We have, here is the potato soup, which Jack has requested for his birthday.
Oh, wow.
Now, what 15-year-old requests potato soup for his birthday?
Your potato
So
soup,
that,
it's great.
that is really good.
You know, we really aren't supposed to eat cheese, Tara and I, at the moment. Well, anymore, I guess. But when we were first married, we were eating French onion soup a lot. It was not what I was used to called French onion soup. It was amazing. And although the recipe, the way it used to do it is in there.
Mm-hmm.
Got to make sure you don't burn yourself.
Yeah, volume 1.
But it was really, really amazingly delicious.
Oh, thanks. He's not just saying that because you're married to me, are you?
No, but prior to Tara making it, I'd only had like something that was called French onion soup, but it was like a broth in a can, and it wasn't great at all. But Tara's was amazing.
Nicole, what do you use to keep skunks away? They've had issues this past month. Try blood meal. Blood meal keeps a lot of those types of things away.
Last year, it kept the rabbits out of our garage because we put it around the garage so they wouldn't get in there and nest under our books.
Kimberly, you can call your credit card company anytime and request an interest rate or credit card limit change. Yeah, they all review your account every 6 months, and if you're a good customer, they'll be happy to help you. Yeah, a lot of times they will.
A number of people are asking. Yes, Tara said the French onion soup recipe is in the book.
It's, I think it's the same page as the same page as the potato soup, 139 right there.
That would be in the gluten-free book too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's also in our gluten-free edition right here. Sandy, I had to detox from credit card use after my divorce. Once I paid them off, I hated the thought of paying those kinds of bills again. Yep. Roxanne, I haven't had my hair cut in 2 years. Wow. Costs too much to get my hair done. Yep, I get it. She cuts her husband and kids' hairs. Yep. D. Brugi something, I don't know. Bought a watermelon for $4.99, got it home, cut it, and it was rotted. I swore I wasn't going to buy another one. Went to get some cut up, and it was over $18. Guess I won't be eating watermelon. Yeah, I took mine back. I actually put it in the Walmart sack and took it back to Walmart. Now, she did tell me, because she knows me, but she did tell me, if you get that again, don't bring the watermelon in. Just bring the receipt, and I'll just give it to you. But I took it back to the store. And in my video you're going to see on Friday, I took a brisket back to the store. Oh my goodness.
Ever, right?
Wait till you guys see this.
You've never done that before, have you?
Unbelievable. It was 75% fat.
Wait, was it brisket or roast?
Brisket.
Oh.
It's closer to 80% actually. Like 80 to 85% fat. I was so mad. Yeah, so I just packed that whole thing up in a grocery sack, and I took it back to Albertsons. After I discovered they had changed the date on the package. They left the old one, and there was 3 stickers on that brisket, and they had sold it past the expiration date. So anyway, or past the sell-by date, not the expiration date. Claire says, I've taken bad stuff to the store with my receipt and always gotten a refund. Yep, me too. Simon's Human made 2 loaves of pumpkin bread with whole wheat flour, used canola oil and half sugar it called for, froze 1 loaf since only it's hubby and me. Also whipped cream cheese and whipped butter. Yum.
Oh, wow.
Sydney, paid mortgage off in the late 50s. I wanted to pay it off earlier, but the interest rate was so low, my husband wouldn't pay it off. I wish I would have pushed it. Having a mortgage paid off is liberating. Yep, it is. We are going to pay ours off in 2.5 weeks.
Actually, I was thinking about recalculating again to see if we want to pay it off sooner.
We're paying it off tonight.
We have the money to pay it off now, but we don't want the cash flow to be too low. Yeah. It would probably be fine if it was, but we like to keep a certain threshold of emergency fund, and we're like, oh, so close.
Sarah, I use my credit card all the time because if someone steals my info, my debit card, they could take all my money. Yeah, I don't know how that works now. It used to be that way. So did you send me the next one? So I don't know.
I sent you 4, did you?
If I didn't get it.
I thought the FA you were
let's
just
see.
reading 4.
No, let's see. Just a second, guys. We had a little. I just finished 4.
Okay, well, there's like 3 more.
Okay.
Here, I'll send you.
What was I talking about?
You're pretty much right up with me. Here's,
okay.
Here's 5, but there's only just a handful of them. If you have any more questions that you would like, send them along.
I was going to show a video too that Kimberly sent me. Rachel, put Epsom salt in the water and mix, and then water. They love it. Interesting. I'll try that. Sharon, late to the party, was making teriyaki wings, red skin mashed potatoes, broccoli and cheese. Oh, that
sounds really good.
Bounty, Tara, tomatoes love blood meal too. Do they? I didn't know that. I put them on all the time to keep the deer out, but I didn't know that. Sharon, I get 2,000 bonus in August. I'm paying off all my bills. Very good. You use that money wisely. Good job. Debbie, I'm having the same issue with watermelons lately. Aren't they awful? I took one back just 2 weeks ago, and I think maybe it's just because we're getting them from Mexico, so they're not ripe. So hopefully in the next 4 weeks or so, which I cannot believe the 4th of July is like in 4 weeks, and I got to get my patriotic food. Next week, I'm doing a patriotic foods video for Super Easy, and I got to get it done. I got to get it done. Yeah, I got to get it done. Girl, so happy I would be livid about your brisket. Yeah, I was hacked. I was like, I cannot believe it was like 80 to 85%. It was ridiculous. So I was going to show a video here real quick. Kimberly sent me, and it was kind of interesting because she's like, what's your opinion on this? And I was like, well, there is no problem. That's what my opinion is. But here it is. Okay, so open it up, make sure okay. So here, just give me a second to add it to my screen here. Share screen, Instagram. I don't think there's anything on Instagram. Okay. So it did it again. Hold on. Can you hear that?
I don't know.
Oops. Okay, sorry about the language there, guys.
I wasn't hearing it.
But did you guys hear that?
It's sitting here.
So he was talking about how they're talking about Trump declaring bankruptcy for the United States, and well, this is going to be like 2008, and he was using some not so great language. Well, guys, when you see videos like that, just remember, like I told Kimberly, she agreed with me. She was just curious what I thought. But 2008 was absolutely nothing. I mean, I know some people lost money, but it was absolutely nothing. Yeah, it was a blimp in the financial world, but people were not going homeless because they couldn't make their house payments. They were going homeless because they were being stupid with their money. They weren't not eating, none of that stuff. So it's not like it was in the Great Depression.
Well, and when we went to Colorado in 2008 because we were picking up deals. We went there to because we were it was still a stretch for us to afford a house, but it was a lot less expensive than it had previously been. And
so we started looking for a house then. When the market was down, that's when we bought a house.
Because the market was the same in Kansas as it always is, but it was way down in Colorado. So it was the best time we thought to jump over there because we were trying to go back to Colorado at that time. But what we noticed is that the people that primarily lost their houses in the area where we lived, as the value was going up while they lived in it, they just kept borrowing out of the equity and borrowing out the equity. So they'll say, companies are like, oh yeah, your equity is being held prisoner in your house. Well, what they're meaning is when the house value goes up, you just borrow against that. Well, then when the house values came down, they had borrowed so much against it that they didn't want to have to pay the higher prices anymore. So they defaulted on the house. But it wasn't necessary. It was just stupid management.
That's why when people talk about
finances,
how bad the economy is now, the economy is not bad right now. Everybody says that, but that's a bunch of baloney. It might be bad if you're being irresponsible with your money, but stop being irresponsible with your money. Yeah, prices have gone up. I get that, and they may go up more, but it's not like people, it's not like in 1929. We're not to that point now. Could we get to that point? Yeah, we could. That's why you need to do everything you can to get your finances in order right now, so that then when or if something like that happens, then you can do that. That's why in 2008, everybody's like, oh, these people lost their houses. Well, they shouldn't have been buying that house in the first place. They couldn't afford it. The bank told me we bought a $200,000 house. The bank told us we could get a $350,000 house. I was like, there's no way. Absolutely no way.
They will make you a loan for a house that is a lot of times more money than you can figure out how to pay in your budget.
It's ridiculous.
And for us, we were like, there's no way we would be able to pay that. I mean, we could, if we really were beating ourselves up every moment of the day, we might be able to absolutely make only the minimum payment. And that's not who we are. So we were like, yeah, you tell us we can borrow that much, and we're not about to do that. I would get the least amount of mortgage you need for a house that's suitable to live in. Like, I wouldn't get a fancier house than you need with a bigger mortgage.
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, okay, let's see. I am out of messages. So my point is, guys, just get your finances in order and keep them in order. Then when big things happen, you're not going to be affected nearly as bad as if your finances are just down the toilet. That's why we keep, hollering about this. Danny, our appliances go out due to the underground electrical being too far from the transformer. The electrical people had to come out and redo the wire. They also installed a household surge protector. I don't think any of our stuff has been from that. Like the dishwasher, the steam from the dishwasher, the steam vent is right above the control panel. So that loosened the control panel. How stupid can you be? Then the same thing on the stove. The vent for the stove is right above the control panel. And he said the heat, even though I've never used self-cleaning on that stove, he said the heat was messed from that. The compressor and the control board went out on our refrigerator this last time. So, yeah.
I just sent you another email.
Anyway, it's just crazy. Michelle, you don't have macaroni salad on your website. Pasta salad. We call it pasta salad, not macaroni salad, but we call it pasta salad. Yeah, and it's really good. I should make me some of that.
Is it on the site or just in the book?
Both, I think.
Okay.
Nancy, I haven't cut my hair in 3 years. Wow. Tried to get something under the bed and pinned my head, putting my hand on my hair. Ow. Pin, pay it now. Pay it now. Yep. Pay your house now is what he's or she's saying.
Yes.
The Queen's budget. I take money out of my credit card at 0% interest for a year and apply it directly to the principal of my mortgage. I've done 6 rounds of this and saved thousands of interest on my mortgage. Yeah, that's what we did that's what my grandma did. They were getting close to the end of their mortgage, so they took out all the rest of it and put it on credit cards, and she just transferred back and forth for 0% for a few years, and then they got it paid off. B. Dilworth, petunias sound like black root rot. It could be black root rot. That's very possible. So I thought about doing a fungicide whenever I plant now. Maybe I should try that. The Ridge Homestead, praying interest on a credit card is just like flushing money down the toilet. Yep, she did that in her 20s, never again. Roxanne, I want to pay off our tractor we bought, but they won't cover the guarantee insurance if it's paid off early. Yeah, and in that situation, it might be worth paying 2% interest. Yeah, definitely might be worth it. I totally get it. Diana, what should the grocery store be used for the 4th of July? Well, normally their hamburger, mustard, mayonnaise, ketchup, sodas, steaks, all your barbecuing type things. Those are the major ones, your sausages. But this year, like Memorial Day, we didn't have any hamburger on sale. And this week's ad came and hamburger was $5 a pound. I'm like, yeah, I ain't spending $5 a pound for hamburger. So Diana, people who kept their money and their investments made all their money back and much more. Yeah. Fourth and goal, if we only have a couple mortgage payments and have the money to pay it off, should we? Yes, you should. Fourth and goal. Just get it done. Just get it off your mind and just be finished with it.
We paid off our previous house, and we were very hesitant to have a mortgage again.
Yeah.
And the only reason we did is that it turns out to be, we would have had to pay more in rent for business inventory than having a house that can do that. So, and now we're really close to it where we can pay it off in like 2 weeks. But what I would say is, at first it was like, oh, it's paid off, yay. But it didn't feel any different. But after a few months, we start realizing we don't have to pay that every month anymore. That was great.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. How did house go from 113,000 in 2007-9? It was less than 20,000 after 9 years. It's finally up to 113, but I ate well and was employed. Yeah, exactly. I mean, stuff went down, but it came back up again, which it always does. Sandy, a lot of people tell me I have a harsh take on that, but the math doesn't lie. Yep. Roxanne, they just assessed our home and added 70,000. Our taxes are way up. We haven't owned it only a year in July. So you can contest that. If you just bought it in July and your appraisal was for a lot less than that, take it to the county and tell them.
Yeah, if your assessment goes up, so the county's not assigning a value to it. The county's looking at how much people are paying for property. But they do with this average thing where they look at the average for the whole county. And in your particular case, yours may not have actually, a buyer may not pay $70,000 more right now than you paid. So you can take the appraisal down there and say, hey, I just bought this house. Here's what the appraiser said it was worth. And they'll probably adjust that for you. Or they might, there's a process they go through where you can have them come out and look at it and they'll, but if you're concerned about your assessment, you can definitely call the county and try to dispute that.
Yeah.
It may not, if you're in a place where everyone's just buying like crazy and paying way over the asking price for every property, then it may actually have gone up that much. But I would definitely try if you're not sure.
Yeah. Okay, let me go through some of these real quick here. Kayla, speaking of hair, you need to learn to braid. Lots of people jack up prices, especially in a predominantly white neighborhood. Anyone have any tips in the comments? Visually impaired. Braid white hair, black hair, because I know there's a big difference in your black. So, wow. I have no advice on that. I've never done that, but I don't know. Maybe somebody in the comments can let her know.
Is this for those really fancy braids?
Probably.
With like a lot of detail and stuff?
I mean, I don't know. The only thing I would say is I know a lot of times people will have a neighbor or a friend maybe do it sometimes, although I know it can take hours to do. I'm sorry. I don't have any advice for that one.
Do you want me to stop making a list?
Yeah, you can. I'll just go through these. Vicky, banks giving out balloon mortgages and interest-only pay mortgages. Then when the bubble burst in 2008, people lost their homes, just bad management. Yep.
Well, and that's another thing. If you do get a mortgage for a property, you can't just go in there blindly and sign papers. You need to know, what does this mean? Because some buyers will go in and get a mortgage and they won't understand what it means. Like if you have a variable, you can get a fixed rate mortgage at like, I don't know what the interest rate is now, but let's say 6.9%. You can get a variable mortgage for a lesser percentage rate. But what that means is if the interest rates go up, then they just start charging you more and more interest, a higher interest rate, but fixed rate stays the same. Balloon mortgage that they were talking about that some people got, you get a really low interest rate for a certain number of years, and then all of a sudden it's all due, or a huge amount of it's due later. And so the thing is that those are tricks that companies will sometimes offer in order to get you into a situation where you're paying something. But even though they're tricks that are not good for you, and they are good for them, you have the responsibility of making sure you don't get scammed in that situation and understanding what you're signing. Like if you're going to sign for hundreds of thousands of dollars on a mortgage, you want to make sure you understand exactly what it is and how you're not going to get in trouble over that.
Yeah. Patricia says in 2008, people bought expensive homes that they couldn't afford, loans with huge balloon. Oh, wait, I read that one. Sorry. Yeah. Buying Badlands. Before I got married, I bought a house I could pay off in 10 years. 5 years in, I sold it for 50% more than what I paid and married my cowboy. There you go.
Nice. Good
Cindy,
call.
housing is in a bubble. Housing prices have doubled in 5 years. Yes, they have.
And that's in different areas. It's different. Like if you're in a place where a lot of people are moving to, then the prices have gone up greatly. But if you're in like a rural part of Alabama or somewhere in Kansas or whatever, then it's likely there hasn't been very much change in the real estate. So it does depend on pressure from buyers. Like, are there a lot more buyers than sellers? Like a lot of people are fleeing California and going to other places, and it causes like in Colorado, our house went from our house. Should I say how much?
Yeah.
Our house went from $200,000 to $500,000 in 10 years. It actually, almost all of that happened in 6 years. And that's just crazy, but it's because so many people were coming to Colorado.
And now
it's
going down in Colorado. We sold at the perfect time because now houses are going down.
Because now they're building
people
a lot
are
more.
losing. Yeah.
Yeah. So now they're building a lot more houses. So there aren't as many people that are going to pay as highly for them because there are other ones they can get for just as cheap. It's funny because we didn't really like that house particularly. So
yeah,
we were glad to take the money and
run. Dee Dee, so happy that you'll be doing more cooking videos. Thank you. I'm actually going to I have a couple more videos filmed, Talking Head. And then I think in 2 weeks, I'm going to start doing cooking videos for Living on a Dime too. Let's see.
Ein's Geisha says YouTube offers braids tutorials, but I know, Kayla, that you're blind. But I don't know if you have a friend or somebody who's nearby who might be able to do that for you. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Or maybe even a neighbor girl, like a little kid. Sometimes little kids are really good at that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
And they like doing it.
Little kids or young teenagers.
Yeah. Cindy, we are planning on moving from Indiana to Texas in a couple of years. I wonder what the housing market will be at that time. Who knows? At this point, it's a date. I mean, things are so crazy in the world. Who knows what will happen at this point? So
from where to where?
Indiana to Texas. Little Crafty Nook. She's not thrilled with her HOA. Doesn't have much privacy, but the home is paid off and the property tax rate is locked in. Yeah, that's great. Badlands. Hamburger will not be going down. Yeah, she's a rancher and their cows are selling for a premium rate, which means our rate for beef is going to be going up. Water Bucket says Michigan Kroger this week had ground beef for $3.99. That's good. Cheryl, I started going to cosmetology school to get my hair cut for $20. Oh, that's another idea, Kayla. Go to cosmetology school. Surely they teach it there. I would go to a college cosmetology school.
I didn't think about the fact that like predominantly white neighborhoods wouldn't know how to do the hairstyles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never occurred to me.
Debbie, Tara, my cast iron pan keeps getting rusty. Any suggestions to stop it from rusting? You have to dry it every single time you use it and don't let water get on it. It's rusting because you're getting water on it. So that's what you have to do. And then, yeah, oil it. Debbie says oil, or Karen says oil it. Yeah, you need to oil it. Okay, let's see. Jalicia says, I have a 30-year mortgage, a Sallie Mae loan since 2020, pay $570 a month. How much pay principal to pay it off in 4 years? I don't know. You'll just have to get a mortgage calculator. Just Google a mortgage calculator and just put in the extra amount for the principal payment is what you're looking for, the extra principal or principal payment. And just type that in until you get to where it's paid off in 4 years. And that's how much more you'll have to pay each month. Hello, Turid. Hello.
Well, one thing is I don't know what the total mortgage amount is on it. But essentially what you'd have to look at it is say, how much is the total on your mortgage and divide that by 4 years. And then there's a bunch of extra that would be, Well, not a bunch. If you paid it off in 4 years, the interest would be a lot less. But you could get a real ballpark idea by saying, wow, I owe $200,000 on it. I want to pay it off in 4 years. Well, that's probably more than you have on it. But then you'd say I'd have to pay $50,000 a year in principal alone. So I just threw a number out there.
The Ridge Homestead. We are going to retire to Tennessee. Not anymore. Housing prices have rocketed due to California escapees. Yep, I know. And then these Californians come to these places and then they just start doing all the stuff that they were doing in California and ruining it. I know not all Californians. I totally get that. We have a lot of nice Californians here in Wyoming, but they do the same thing and it's so irritating. They'll start voting the same way. And it's like, hello, this is what got you in the mess in California in the first place. I get it. I know it's not everybody. I'm not saying it's everybody.
But a lot of what happens is people will come to a place and they say, man, that place I got out of, it was so expensive. The taxes were so high. Then they come to the new place. They're like, well, they don't have a train system like I want. They don't have this kind of thing. They don't have this kind of tax supported thing. And pretty soon the new place gets the taxes because they want all the things they had that caused the taxes to be high where they came from.
Yep.
I'm not saying that all Californians by any means, but I mean, people, when they move, that's a danger. People don't understand that some of the swag that they had is because of the taxes.
Bang Badlands says, in the early 80s, interest rates on mortgages were 21%, 23% on land. We bought our first quarter at 23%. I know. People have no idea. They think it's bad now. I got news for them. It's not.
Well, and I honestly think that one of the reasons why the real estate prices have gotten a lot higher is because interest rates were almost nothing for a lot of years. And so people were like, I'm going to pay more for my house. But in the days when the rates were 21 or 23%, you just wouldn't pay $500,000 for a house. Oh, yeah.
Jesus and Coffee says, my husband and I want to buy a house so bad, but not here in Pennsylvania. It's too expensive. I just keep hearing Tara say, move, you're not a tree. Yes, exactly. Cindy says, cosmetology school is expensive. I've had my hair done at schools and they say it is expensive. Really? They're cheap. They're fairly cheap here. But yeah. All right, guys, our Dining on a Dime cookbooks are on sale right now. This is volume 1 and volume 2 right here. Start with volume 1, but they are totally separate recipes. It's just a continuation, volume 2 of what I couldn't put in volume 1. And then my Dining on a Dime gluten-free, dairy-free edition. This is all of my gluten-free, dairy-free recipes that I use and how I cook. Absolutely love them. Patricia says, we are Californians moving out of the state in less than 2 weeks. We promise not to duplicate the mess in California. Yeah. And I'm not saying all Californians, especially the ones that I'm not saying that at all, but a lot of them are. And that's the problem. And so then they come to places and they're like, oh, this is really nice. And then they start voting. Well, there's a reason why these red states are in good shape and not toilets, because we vote
I've heard
accordingly.
People say
so
we're looking for refugees, not what is it?
Oh, not activists.
No, it's like looking for refugees, not missionaries, or something like that. Is basically they're saying we're looking for people that legitimately want a different life than they had, not people that are going to go to the new place to bring that system with them.
Yeah.
And we know a lot of awesome people from California.
Karen says colonizers. Yeah.
Exactly. Maybe that's what it's funny though, because we know a lot of people here that got away and they're glad that this is not the same kind of place and they respect that. And I think that it's funny because our thought was we just want to blend right in because we picked a place that was exactly what we wanted it to be already.
It already had our values.
Yes.
That we appreciate. All right, guys, visit us livingonadime.com. Check out our cookbooks. Please have a good night. We will see you guys next time.
Bye.